Good morning, everybody. It's going to be a fun morning this morning. I'm happy to be with you, sitting in for Fred Albers, Fred and Susan are sailing away on a wonderful cruise right now. So, Fred, if you're watching, and I hope you're not, Merry Christmas. Here we go. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? Well, I'm gonna send thee one by one, one for a little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee two by two, two for Paul and Silas, one for a little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee now. How shall I send thee? Well, I'm gonna send thee three by three, three for the Hebrew children, one for Paul and Silas, one for a little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Well, well, all right. Children, go where I send thee. How am I gonna send thee? I'm gonna send thee four by four, four for the four that stood at the door, five for the gospel preachers, six for the six that never got fixed, seven for the seven that never got to heaven, eight for the eight that stood at the gate, one for a little bitty baby. I said, born in Bethlehem. That's right. Children, go where I send thee. Now how am I gonna send thee? I'm gonna send thee nine by nine, nine for the nine all dressed so fine, 10 for the 10 commandments, 11 for the 11 riders, 12 for the 12 apostles, one for the little bitty baby. I said, born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one, one for a little bitty baby, born in Bethlehem. Well, now it's time to sing together. Everybody get your singing shoes on and stand if you're able, if you'd like to, or sing from your seat. But here's songs we all know. The first Noel, the angels did say, was to certain poor shepherds in fields as they lay, in fields where they Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. His star drew nigh to the northwest, o'er Bethlehem it took its rest, and there it did both stop and stay, right over the place where Jesus lay. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Noel, 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 Noel. Born is the King of Israel. Let's do another one together. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie. Above thy deep and dreamless sleep, the silent stars go by. Yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wondering love. Oh, morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to all on earth.
Good morning, Unity Church of Overland Park. It is a joy to be back with you this morning. I had a little time off snowboarding in Breckenridge over Thanksgiving holiday. And the last time many of us were together in this room, we were dancing the night away, weren't we? So it's so good to be back with you this morning, and thank you for those of you who are tuning in online. So our talk today on our Advent journey, Peace as a Practice. Reverend Eileen and Reverend Fred decided they were going to take it to heart. Notice they're gone today, practicing peace. Fred in the Caribbean and Reverend Eileen at home, taking some time off. So we bless them on their peaceful journey this week and appreciate the ways that they take these teachings deeper. We bless you, we love you, and I miss you terribly. But we're so glad to have Kelley here. You know I love doing church with you. Yes, thank you. So let's join in hearts and minds this morning as we settle in to the idea and the ideal of peace, to the one power and presence in the universe, God, the source of all good, uniting us in heart and mind in each and every moment, pulsing truth, holiness, grace through us, as us. So we allow ourselves to animate more richly into this experience, this God experience that we each are living out in our own unique ways. We invite faith and hope, peace, love and joy more deeply into our lives, into our awareness, our consciousness, into the circles around us of our beloveds, into the greater circles of our community and in the world. For we are the light. We are the love that is God. And we make no performance of this knowing. We anchor it in our being more boldly than ever before in each moment. And we step forward as the hands and feet of God. And we are so grateful. So we affirm together one of our key foundational affirmations. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you, God.
And please stand again and sing as you were able. Angels, we have heard on high. Angels, we have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strains. Gloria in excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo. Shepherds, why this jubilee? Why your joyous strains prolong? What the gladsome tidings be, which inspire your heavenly song? In excelsis Deo. In excelsis Deo. Come to Bethlehem and see him whose birth the angels sing. Come adore on bended knee Christ the Lord, our newborn King. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
Second Sunday of Advent, peace. Peace as a practice allows us to remain present amidst the noise and bustle of this human journey. This Advent season, my prayer is that we dedicate ourselves to being the peace we wish to see in both our inner and outer worlds. May we remember who we declare ourselves to be as unique expressions of God in our communities and be comforted by that knowledge. May this knowledge create a clearing for the rebirth of Christ within us. May peace as a practice leave us restored. May it afford us the strength and the poise we need to make this the most wonderful time of the year, truly magical for all. Let us commit to making peace our priority. From Isaiah 26:3. Those of steadfast mind you keep in peace, because they trust in you. On this day of Advent, may our hearts and minds be established in the peace of God. We light this candle for peace.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Beautiful reading. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Alice.
Morning.
Good morning. Hi, everybody out there. Good to see you this morning. Hey, let's give a great big shout out to a few people. Kelley Hunt, thanks for holding down the house here. Woo woo. It's very good to see you. James Albright and Terry Swope. Thanks to Jasmine Valesco. Thank you so much for being here this morning. And then we've got, as Jacquie said, we're just sending our blessings to Reverend Eileen and Reverend Fred for a well-deserved break and some fun. And then welcome to Reverend Jacquie for her message today entitled Peace as a Practice.
And we have a few announcements for you today. Be sure to pick up a reverse Advent calendar over at the prayer table. This is a good way to support the food pantry at the Shawnee Mission Unitarian Universalist Church. You pick up the items on the calendar and then take them to the pantry. It's a wonderful way to support our neighboring church and those who may be food insecure in our greater community. Also, if you need to bring your donations here, there will be a donation box outside in the entryway.
All right, so this coming Wednesday, which is December 7th at 7 o'clock, there will be another, Tony will be leading and facilitating his Express Yourself class. It's a really safe space to be able to get together and create and explore creativity. Plus, it's just an incredible and fun way to get to know one another. So consider joining Tony on Wednesday at December 7th at 7 o'clock until 8:30, and they meet in the sound stage, which is the room kind of through the doors in the back of this area. And then also next Sunday, which is December 11th. Yeah, so December 11th, in the evening, also at 7 o'clock, we'll be having a healing light service. And this is a special candlelight service that is designed to help those in our community who are approaching the holiday season, perhaps with some sense of grief or sadness or loss or trepidation in any way, and for everybody to be together to support one another at that time. And so this is going to be a beautiful sacred service. It starts at 7 o'clock. It's next Sunday on the 11th, and it also will be on the sound stage, and we would invite everybody to attend that as well.
And speaking of holiday services, we are having a Christmas Eve service here. And since Christmas Day falls on Sunday, we'd like to see if there's interest in an informal gathering that morning, have some breakfast goodies to eat, some carols, and sing our favorite Christmas songs. If you think you would attend, we'd like for you to just raise your hand so we can get an idea of how many might come on Christmas morning.
Thank you all very much. Can you join me now in speaking our vision? A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
In the middle of the forest, there's a clearing by a stream where a mother holds her newborn, and the child begins to dream. He dreams of hopes unspoken, when the tears of man will cease, and his mother holds him closer, for he is the Prince of Peace. Let the bells ring out these tidings, let it echo across the land, that a king is born in Bethlehem, and his kingdom is at hand. Let the world rejoice together as it looks upon the stars, knowing every man is a brother, and that every child is ours. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. Joyful all ye nations, rise, join the triumph of the skies. With the heavenly host proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark, the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. In the middle of the forest, there's a clearing by a stream, where a mother holds her newborn, and the child begins to dream.
Thank you, Kelley. If you haven't noticed, I ask her to sing that song every year for this particular Advent. And it has a poignant meaning for us this year, and I'll get to that in a minute. We're talking about peace, peace as a practice. And as Reverend Eileen shared with you last week, we are also weaving in Unity's 12 powers, which are the 12 qualities, attributes of God that each of us also express in each and every moment, whether we know it or not. We are always using the 12 powers or misusing the 12 powers because we have that kind of divine freedom, don't we? So the powers for today are strength and release. And of course, as you know, strength is not about physical strength, but if you will indulge me for just a moment, I would like to share with you a little bit about my physical strength. Because this year has been a practice for me. I've spent a lot of hours at the gym, lifting weights, and I've gotten pretty strong. Thank you very much. I can lift 55-pound dumbbells, so it's the small ones, 55 pounds each. Now, here's the deal. It takes both hands to lift one 55-pound dumbbell off the weight rack and put it where I need it to be. And then I go and I get the other one, both hands, and I carry it very carefully and drop it because I don't want to hurt my back on the way down to set it down. But the workout that I do requires me to bend over and lift one in each hand, and I pull them up and back down and up. And I can do this for 3 sets of 7 reps. Thank you. Thank you. I'm impressed too, and I kind of can't believe it every time it happens, and especially then I have to put those things back. And I don't exactly understand the physics behind, I can lift both one hand at the same time, but I can it takes both hands on one to lift and move. And I think it's because of the muscle group, right? When I'm lifting it off the floor and up to this position, I'm using my legs and my back, which are our strongest muscles. So I get it a little bit, but it still really doesn't make sense to me. But I'm strong, and I know that. Until I get home. And Maddie Rose climbs on me. And she grabs right here. And she says, "What's that, Jax?" The nerve. Like, what do you mean? Let's talk about this and that, right? We got 3 other sides here that are really good. Why are we talking about this? I don't know. So it kind of starts to peel away at my strength a little bit. But fortunately, we're not talking about physical strength today. We're talking about spiritual strength. And the practice of becoming physically strong has had a spiritual impact on me. I can promise you that. It's taken dedication. It's taken self-awareness and decision-making, because sometimes I have to back off of that weight, and sometimes I creep back up to it, and I know that soon I'll be able to bump it up to 57.5 pounds, and maybe eventually 60 pounds. I don't know. I don't know what the limit is, but I do know I have to stay in tune with my body to know if there's maybe a time where I need to bump it down a little bit, because I don't want injury. I'm not trying to do that, right? I'm trying to strengthen my body. But here's the thing, I can control the process. I can decide if I'm going to take myself over to the weight rack, and I can decide which weight I'm going to lift off and put down and then do my workout. So I can decide if I only want to do 5 reps, if I only want to do 2 sets, if I want to try to push it. I get to have control. I get to have a say in that. Do you feel where I'm going with this? Yeah. Because in our circumstances of life, which require our spiritual strength, we don't get that same kind of control, do we? We don't get to decide just how far you're going to push my buttons. We don't get to decide which part of my body you're going to grab, which of my flaws you're going to point out. We don't get to control who's going to walk into what building armed with what weapon. We don't get to control our diagnoses. We don't get to control our circumstances, but what do we get to control? Our response, our presence, and this is why I'm arriving at peace as a practice. Now, here's the thing I've shared with you time and time again. When you write a sermon and you declare a sermon title, you get an opportunity to practice your practice. And I've had that opportunity. So on Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving night, an extended member of Tammy's family, my wife, was reading to her 6-year-old son, and she had a heart attack. She's 43, healthy, a nurse by trade, profession, and the 6-year-old ran to get our nephew, who's 16, Brody, to come and help. He didn't know what happened. He just knew Mom fell off the bed and wasn't waking up. So Brody came in and called 911 and began to administer CPR. The medics arrived, and they were able to get her heart going and take her into the hospital, but unfortunately, enough time had passed that there was no brain activity. Now, you know, at that point, there are different directions the story can go from there. And in this particular case, when they decided to remove life support, she continued to breathe on her own until just in the early hours of yesterday morning. So for a week, the family was in this sort of suspended space, 5 children. We don't get to control the circumstances we find ourselves in. And as I'm reflecting on the situation that we are finding ourselves in as a family and these 5 children, one of who just got married, I think I shared with you about the wedding we went to just a few weeks ago. So that was the eldest daughter, and then the 2 teenage nephews, and then there's a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. How do we talk about peace as a practice in the midst of losing your mother unexpectedly just before the holidays, in the midst of the holidays, really? So my heart's been tender and open, and I would love to be able to walk in here and tell you, but we can control this little piece. You can decide how much weight you're going to lift. You can decide where you're going to put it. You can decide how much you're going to lift, and that's all metaphysically, metaphorically true. In the emotional and spiritual realm, you can decide how much faith you're going to release. You can decide how much love you're going to release. You can decide how much strength you're going to release. And I keep saying release. That's the other power that we're going to focus on today. So it is strength and release for me that has been my practice of peace. Because I get to release my need to control. I get to release my need for things to go the way I want them to go, or the way I would want them to go for this particular family or for these children. I get to release the idea that I know better. I get to release the idea that divine order means divinely my way all the time. And I get to step into strength, spiritual strength, which is not about what I can control other than how will I practice peace in this situation, because we don't arrive necessarily in a peaceful state. That's not our divine assignment. So sometimes when we're getting ready to pray or meditate, we just, I'm peaceful. No. I mean, okay. And also, no. Just come screaming, crying, throwing things to your meditation, and let the meditation be the practice that cultivates peace in your heart and as your presence, and allows you to release what isn't serving you in this particular circumstance, what ideas or beliefs that you have agreed to that are not helpful, and allow peace to arise from within. How, though, do we say this to children who have just lost their parents, their mom? Then on Friday, I received a phone call to go to Overland Park Regional Hospital and be with a family who had just lost their infant. So here I am, focused on how to be present with children who have just lost their mother, and now I'm being called into being present, to pray, to baptize this tiny little baby who never took a breath. And I'll tell you, for all the working out I've done, and for all of the physical strength I have garnered, holding that baby rendered me weak. Peace as a practice. So we talked, we prayed, I baptized the baby, whose name, by the way, and I have permission to share this with you, is Forever. That was already going to be his name. So we talked about what that means, what meaning that holds for them now. And the mother repeated, God had other plans. God had other plans. God had other plans. Release. Strength. Release. Strength. Faith. We don't get to control our circumstances, but we certainly control and choose our response. So as I'm sitting there, there began to arise some complications for both the mother and the father. And it soon became apparent that it was now my divine assignment to hold the baby for about an hour and a half, because the mother did not want that baby to be put down. So there I sat holding the baby. And what do you do naturally as you hold a baby, right? You rock. And I was in a rocking chair. And the hospital provided crocheted blankets and a little tiny cap. And when I first saw this, a little Santa hat. And I was angry that they had in stock a hat this size. And of course, that anger immediately subsided, because there's a need for a hat that size. And the mother said it was perfect. And I thought of our own Yarn Blessings group. You can control each and every stitch you put into a hat or a blanket. Do you have no idea where those stitches will find their blessing? I started to think about Kelley and this song. In the middle of a forest, there's a clearing by a stream where a mother holds her newborn and the child begins to dream. He dreams of hopes unspoken, for the tears of man shall cease. And his mother holds him closer, for he is the Prince of Peace. And the poignancy of the timing of that song as I sat there holding this baby, the blankets were heavier than the baby. And I thought of our prayer chaplains and the depth of your love and your faithful prayer. I thought of Reverend Eileen, who not long ago was at the very same hospital in a very similar circumstance. And I called in her faithful, loving prayer power. I thought of each and every one of you, knowing that we would convene today to talk about the practice of peace. And do you understand what was happening for me in that moment? My strength was our community. I was calling in the strength of our collective love, our generosity, our faith. That was my practice of peace. Because in that moment, quite frankly, I didn't have peace. I'm seeing devastation. I'm seeing sadness. I'm feeling the humanity of the circumstance and for what my family has recently been through. And then I'm thinking of the shooting at Club Q in Colorado Springs, and I'm thinking of war in the Ukraine. I'm thinking of our own activity this week of partnering with the Good Faith Network and being in the conversations of how to not just manage homelessness in Johnson County, but how to end it. And we gathered on Thursday morning just up the street here at Johnson County's only homeless shelter for adults. They have a capacity of 40 people. Last year they served 240. But only 40 people per night. And the extras they have to send off to another county, or when it's frigidly cold out, they often go to the hospital to be treated for frostbite or other complications for just simply being hungry and out in the cold. So when we look to our circumstances for peace, we will not find it. Not in the tragedy, not in the heartbreak, nor will we find it in our glory. Because at the very same time, just like many of you, there are lots of wonderful, beautiful things happening in my circle of friends and family. There are dream jobs being landed. There are people falling in love. There are choices for sobriety being made day by day. There's overcoming of illness and diagnoses. There's awakening. There's deepening of connection and friendship. But peace doesn't live there either. So our practice of peace is to always allow that which is true, capital T, true, to flow from within outward into any circumstance in which we find ourselves. You are the miracle of Christmas. The Christmas story, the beauty of the Christmas story is that it's terribly messy. It's terribly messy. A young woman giving birth in a barn with questionable paternity. The story wasn't written for years, hundreds of years. So there was no validation here of who's the father at the time. A baby who would grow to be crucified on the cross. It's a messy story. And in that story, we don't find peace, but we find the promise of what happens for us when we seek to cultivate the Christ presence in us, to allow the Christ presence that is us to find its full expression in the world. And this is how we position ourselves as the Christmas miracle, as the promise of peace, as the prince and princess of peace, as the beacon of strength, spiritual strength, through that practice of releasing that which is not true, because it's very easy to get caught up in the mistruths that are constantly finding their ways to our hearts and our minds. but we release, and which allows us to be present to the moment, and in the moment, we experience everything we need. In the moment, we allow truth to find its way in our hearts, in our minds, in our thoughts, in our words, in our actions. And for this truth, I say thank you, God, for the experience that I had of practicing peace that was you and your love, your connection, our oneness. I am so grateful. So may we each open to the truth of oneness that abides in us, the truth of oneness that ignites peace in our hearts. For it is hope that ignites faith, and that abiding faith ignites everything else we experience. So we continue our Advent journey, and I invite each of you to open to your own practice of peace, for peace is the practice available to you in each and every moment. God bless you.
In the middle of the forest, there's a clearing by the stream where a mother holds her newborn. The child begins to dream. And I invite you to prepare for meditation. Get comfortable in your seats.
So I invite you to settle in. If you haven't already, close your eyes or gently soften your gaze. Find yourself comfortable as you sit in communion with yourself, with the divine in you, with this moment in spiritual community. Notice the breath of life that supports you in this moment. Your body, your temple, the only one that you have. Breathe more freely into it, allowing any tension to simply release. You don't need it right now. invite you to let these words be your words, strength. There is a deep and abiding joy set before me. My circumstances are not the source of my joy, for it is sourced in the infinite wellspring of the divine. Therefore, I can endure all things. There is in me an essential core that cannot suffer. When I feel pain or suffering in myself or in the world around me, it does not consume me. I know pain and suffering are temporary, and I take action to support myself or others. Suffering and conflict are not the main events in my life, nor the primary motivators. I center my awareness on love, connection, and deep, abiding joy. These become my strength, my superpower that helps me endure any circumstance, so that the main events in my life comprise love, connection, joy. In this knowing, I am filled with compassion for myself and others. From Nehemiah 8:10, and do not be grieved, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. Sourced in divine joy, my inner strength is enduring. And so we open to that spiritual strength in us. It is endurance of a spiritual nature. It sustains our faith. It sustains our hearts, our thoughts. So in this moment, in which we have everything we need, we release anything that would take us out of our knowing that peace is already here. It is already in us. And as many times as we need to return to this knowing, that is making peace our practice. And so we don't shame or judge ourselves for the number of times we must engage this practice. No, we simply engage it. And say, thank you, God, for this gift of life in which I get to be human. Thank you, God, for this gift of life in which I get to be divine. And thank you, God, for the knowing that I am never alone. So we take this knowing and this truth, we take this peace into silent reflection.
this time of year, we just automatically desire good and peace. And we naturally feel blessed as we give of our time, talent, and treasure. So please join with me as we say our offering blessing. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am joy-filled and grateful.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Yeah, Jesus Christ is born. Shepherds kept their watching over silent flocks by night. Well, behold, throughout the heavens there came a holy light, and they were singing out, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Now go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. You know the shepherds and the wise men who journeyed from afar. Well, they heard the angels singing beneath the Bethlehem star, and they were singing out, go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Now go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Oh, Jesus is born. That's right. Down in a lonely manger, that humble baby did lay, set out for our salvation, that blessed Christmas day. And they were singing, now go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, tell it everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. They were singing, now go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and tell it everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. Oh, don't you know? Go on and tell it on the mountain. Tell it on the mountain. Tell it on the mountain. That's right. Tell it, come on the mountain. Tell it 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 on the mountain. Oh, you gotta tell it on the mountain. All right.
Oh, we got to tell it on the mountain that Kelley Hunt has a new album, if you haven't already heard. She has her new Christmas album, Winter Solstice, and you can buy it right back there in the back of the room after service, so please take a look. It's some good stuff. Yeah, I've been listening to it. Yeah, so thank you, Kelley. Thank you to James and Terry for always being here and gifting us with your music. And thank you to Jasmine and to each and every one of you who helped create Sunday service. You are the strength of our Sunday experiences. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Each month, we like to highlight a specific group of volunteers. And this month, we are celebrating our Leadership Council. So if you are here and you serve on the Leadership Council, I invite you to stand and be recognized. Thank you. Yes. These are the folks that plan our strategic plan, financial and operating goals, and most importantly, they always hold the consciousness and the highest vision of what is possible at Unity Church of Overland Park. So thank you, thank you, thank you. We love you. We bless you. We appreciate you, and we behold the Christ as you. So as we make our way out the door, you're going to stop by Kelley's table. You're going to go get some coffee, maybe some treats over there in the lounge. And also there is the Raise Right table is still happening. And I just wanted to take a moment because we haven't talked about it in detail. And what we've learned is not only can you order gift cards, a percentage of which will come to the church. So you don't pay more. They will kick back a percentage automatically to the church. You can do that here and get e-cards or actual gift cards. They make great stocking stuffers. But also, in my family, we have gotten the app on our phone. And what this allows us to do is, like, say I forgot after church on Sunday, but I'm at Target and I'm going to do some shopping. I can real quick buy the e-card right from the app and use it. And I've done it in the checkout line as I'm waiting for my turn. I've done it in the drive-thru at Starbucks real quick, got my Raise Right Starbucks card and was able to use it and scan it. Now, if you have the Starbucks app and you're like me and you collect those stars to get your free drink every so often, well, you can take your Raise Right Starbucks gift card and put it in your Starbucks app with just a little copy and paste. So if you want more information about that, ask me, because I'm getting really good at it. But we've got our Instacart. So money that I'm already spending, now percentages of that are coming right back to this community. So it's a really good deal. So think of it that way, not just as an opportunity to buy gift cards, but also to allow the money that you're already spending to come back into this community. So we thank you for that. Next week, I'll be back. And Envy, our beloved Envy, will be here as our guest singer, and we'll be on our third Advent, which is love and the greatest thing you'll ever learn. If you know the song, you know the rest of it. Otherwise, come back. So let's all join together in stating from the heart our mission statement. Unity Church of Overland Park transforms lives and empowers people to make a difference in the world. And my friends, we're really good at that. So thank you for living that mission on a day-to-day basis in such a profound way. So we're gonna sing the kids in. Come on. This is not Josie and it's not Henry. Can you believe the entire staff is off today? I mean to say, I don't know who approved this, but here we are. So thank you, Reverend Jen Dickey, for coming in and substituting. Tell us what you got.
Absolutely. Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all. I have had an amazing morning with Fiona. I don't know if you know her. She's amazing, she's smart, she's talented, and she is the light of God. I've just really had a great time. So what did we talk about today?
We talked about finding the peace of God.
And do you remember the affirmation?
I am the peace of God.
Yes, you are, absolutely. So what we've been talking about this morning was about ways that we find peace within ourselves, within our hearts. Do you want to share too some of the ways that you find peace?
Taking deep breaths and reading.
Reading, absolutely. So prayer and meditation being those practices, and also some fun things like reading. So great job today.
Awesome, beautiful.
Oh, and one other thing, won't embarrass her, but it was her birthday yesterday.
Woo, happy birthday, Fiona. Thank you.
Happy birthday to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you all very much.
Thank you both. Let's stand and have our closing song.
Christmas is the time to say I love you. Share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Christmas is the time to say I love you, and the feeling that will last all through the year. Here we go. On the corner, carolers are singing. There's a bunch of magic in the air. From grown-up to minor, no one could be finer. Times are hard, but no one seems to care. Christmas Eve, and all the world is watching. Santa guides his reindeer through the dark. From rooftop to chimney, from Harlem to Bimini, they will find a way into your heart. All right, Terry. I love you, that's right, mister. Share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Oh, Christmas is the time to say I love you, and the feeling that will last all through the year. Oh, yes, sir. Just outside the window, snow is falling. But here beside the fire, shed a glow of moonlight and brandy, sweet talk and candy, sentiments that everyone should know. Oh, every love the year that lays behind us, wishes for the year that's yet to come. And it stands to reason that good friends of the season make you feel that life has just begun. Oh, Christmas is the time to say I love you. Yeah, share the joys of laughter and good cheer. Christmas is the time to say I love you, and the feeling that will last all through the year. So when spirits grow lighter and hopes are shining brighter, then you know that Christmas time is here.
Beautiful. Now join me in the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. May peace be with you.